15 minutes, sweetie pies. Good evening, Tony Dattino. I am the founder of the USA Memory Championship, and here with you on my Live with Tony on Monday evening. And the days are going by as quick as anything. People seem to be getting out a little bit more. Traffic seems to be picking up a little bit more on the drive to the grocery store where we pick up groceries at the curbside. But looking at this new variant, there are still things going on. I still encourage my Live with Tony audience people to stay as safe and as distancing and hand washing and doing all the things that we've been suggested to do to maintain our safety and our well-being. But in any case, tonight's session, I wanted to just talk to you about, we've got the 6 elements of brain health that I've been talking to, and we've been going over and over and over again, and the 6 elements just keep popping up in everything I'm reading. And so, I don't know if we just found the right 6 or we just are on the right topics in terms of what's going on. But let me just start with, I'm just constantly seeing newsletters in the mail. Protect and preserve your memory. Groundbreaking research. There's not a day or a week goes by. I'm getting literature from the different health reports, right? Different health reports, all about memory. And this one is coming from the health special reports. Who the heck is pushing this one out? It's Tufts University, Harvard is pushing them, Hopkins, and I say pushing them. The topic of memory is a hot topic because people are worried about dementia and cognitive impairment, the impact we're having right now. Talking with somebody earlier about this has been the biggest experiment ever done on social distancing and social interactions, and the fact that we're hardwired to be humans that interact with other humans, and now we're being quarantined and we're being put aside. Is just testing as I call it the biggest experiment ever to find out, are we truly hardwired to be social beings? And I say just watch kids, look at what people are doing. They feel like, as you hear people on television, they're coming out of their cages, they're doing things that are probably thinking, well, okay, it's been a year, so I can go back to normal, whatever normal is now going to be. And it's crazy. You see kids are out playing together. We're not masking as much, so people are letting things down. But now it just feels like this pent up quarantining is just unleashing people, and it's just they're out there and just letting it all go. We're looking here in Orlando, the theme parks are hitting their capacity at 35% is their capacity. Though some folks tell me that those numbers may be a little fudged because the parks look pretty busy and packed. So people are getting closer together, and I'm not sure if we're letting our guards down. But I was hearing something on TV today about the new variants and the South African variants and the Brazil variants and what those may be doing, and brings up pushing numbers up, and will the vaccines that we've been given have an impact? So all of these things are happening. And it all goes back to one of our elements of brain health, right? Social interactions are crucial to us. So that's one. Then I'm reading another one coming out of the Science Focus magazine, and this one is coming to us talking about sleep. The quest for the perfect sleep. Technology and tracking apps can lead us to becoming unhealthily fixated on a good night's rest. There's a meaning of being insomnia or having the desire to get sleep. And when you start building anxiety of sleep patterns, you start worrying about, gee, I need to get to sleep tonight, and I need to get 7 hours of sleep. Am I thinking about getting your 7 hours of sleep because I have a meeting tomorrow morning or I have to get up early for an appointment? You start building an anxiety level within your own brain that then does what? Keeps you awake. It's like, my goodness. So I'm working with some people now and talking about, well, gee, I have a hard time getting to sleep. And I'm saying, okay, so let's look at what's keeping you up. So what are you thinking about? What's going on in your mind? Are there work projects? And one of the things people are telling me is, oh, gee, I know I got to get up early for a meeting or an appointment, and here I'm reading this article, as the term is orthosomnia, is coined by researchers from Northwestern University in Chicago, and they're talking about patients take the quantification self too far, meaning you go to bed and you say, okay, I'm going to go to bed at 11 p.m., but I need to get 6 or 7 hours of sleep. So this reverse of insomnia basically starts to build into your head. I'm starting to worry about, am I going to get my 7 hours? Am I going to get my 7 hours? My goodness, I got to get to sleep by 11 o'clock or I'm not going to get my 7 because I got to get up at 6. And so you build in anxiety and you build up a cycle that they're talking about is the quest for a perfect night's sleep can cause you to over-ruminate on the fact that you've got to get to sleep, and therefore keeps you what? Awake. So in the quest for the perfect night's sleep, what you're doing is actually reversing and working against yourself, and this is something that comes out of Northwestern University in Chicago. As they explain, with more and more people buying sleep trackers, so now we're buying sleep trackers. We want to know how we're doing with our sleep, right? They started seeing patients who quest for a better night's sleep is actually leading to sleep problems. So now we have trackers, and so they call this orthosomnia, from the word meaning correct, and the word somnia meaning sleep. They choose this word because the perfectionist's quest to achieve perfect sleep is similar to an unhealthy preoccupation with the term called healthy eating, or the orthorexia. So here we are looking for the perfect night's sleep, and we're buying tracking devices, and we're timing ourselves, and we're looking for whatever that perfect sleep is. And what they're suggesting in this study here is that just in the act of trying to find the perfect night's sleep and thinking about it and ruminating about it so much, we're causing ourselves to have unique and new sleep problems. So what do? We talk about memory, right? Memory, a new constant focus on memory. We're looking for more and more ways of how do we preserve our memory, as this latest thing is protect and preserve your memory with research from the experts at one of the top hospitals. I'm just still trying to figure out which hospital this was. So we're combating memory loss is the next thing. There are new tests that are looking for Alzheimer's. So this whole craziness goes on about memory, and I'm saying, okay, so we have this online course that came actually from the Maximum Memory Mastery course. So that course has just been terrific, and it's really helping people. But there's an outgrowth of that on more about the elements of brain health, which now talks about our sleeping, our social interactions, and next but not least, and this can drive you crazy after a bit, is what? Nutrition. So what should we be eating, right? Healthy meals. What consists of healthy meals? And so we've been hearing more and more about healthy meals and the importance about fruit and vegetables. So we go over and over, and so here's a whole table on the different kinds of fruits and vegetables and the confusion about fruit. So let me just talk to you about fruit. What we know is the processed sugars are not good, not just for our body, but processed sugars are not good even for our brain. So there's a bit of confusion around fruit and its sugar content. Yes, fruits contain sugar, but it's a naturally occurring sugar, meaning it is the fruit that is found in nature. So we're looking for fruits that are in nature, then therefore you would think, well, those are good for my body, and they are. What they're concerned about is limiting sugar intake that are the sugars that are added to food. So God, which ones would those be? Obviously, sodas, candies, pastries, sports drinks. So I see athletes, football players, basketball players, but they drink Gatorade. So I go and I drink Gatorade, right? You're supposed to get electrolytes. And then I start looking all of a sudden at Gatorade. I think it's a healthy drink. Athletes are drinking it all the time. And then I see the sugar content that's on it. And I say, whoa, that's a sport drink. Let me look at the label of how many grams of sugar you're getting. So the discussions on this is there is no need to limit one's intake of naturally occurring sugars. Usually this includes the best picks. However, every fruit in this graph, in this chart, is a good fruit to be eating. So let me just give you apples. Wow, a medium-sized apple is fantastic. It is great in terms of its calories, but more importantly, it's natural sugar. Apples. Blackberries, they give you a high grade on blackberries. So I'm in good shape there on apples. I'm in good shape on blackberries. Blueberries was surprising. They didn't score as high, but cantaloupes, which I love, was another high-scoring recommendation from the Nutritional Environmental Newsletter. Grapefruits, guava. I have not had guava. Kiwi, mangoes score pretty well. Oranges, papaya, peaches. I love peaches. It's summertime coming up. Peaches are great. Pears and pineapples. Raspberries, another one of my favorite fruits. Strawberries that are sliced, and Tangelo would be the favorite fruits that they're suggesting for naturally occurring sugars that are the best kind as recommended by the Environmental Nutritional Newsletter that I subscribe to. And then you go through all of this and you say, okay, so these added sugars, there is no need to limit one's intake of naturally occurring sugars. Usually the column that is best picks, which we just talked about. So we don't need to limit, but then again, you want to look at calories. You want, I've had some of my nutritional friends tell me you don't want to overindulge on calories with fruit, though you want to mix your fruits and your vegetables and have a green and kale and collard greens and things of that sort. So trying to figure this all out. Diet, memory, sleep, social interactions. My goodness, we're being bombarded with a whole variety of things that are all good, right? We want to know more and more about what's good for us and what are these things. So Michael Datino and I have been working, and he has done a tremendous amount of good work on, so how do we distill all of this and put this together in an online course that we can tell people, these are the good things that you ought to be focused on for long-term brain health. So that's what I'm doing now. I've been working on it over the weekend, and it's exciting. And the more you read on this stuff, the more we're trying to distill this in terms of handling it. And I just want to get back to my Live with Tony audience with a reminder that not only do I do this on Facebook, but I also have got this being converted to YouTube. So if any of you have friends that don't have Facebook, but they have YouTube, they can do that. Now I'm looking, God, I don't always do this well, so I get a note from an Anthony Mativia. I recite long-form memorized Sanskrit, works like a charm for falling asleep. But God, that's a great tip. Okay, so talking about sleep, he recites long-form memorized Sanskrit, and it's Sanskrit, and it works like a charm for falling to sleep. Well, Anthony, thank you for that tip. I'm not sure what Sanskrit, Skrit is, but boy, I'm going to find out because we're working on a sleep module, and boy, if that's it works like a charm for falling to sleep, got to go figure out what that is and see if we can plug it in. So thank you so much for listening and giving me that note so I can share that with our audience. That concludes my Live with Tony for this evening. As I said on Friday, save June 26th on your calendars for our next Zoom, next USA Memory Championship, June 26th. Maybe I'll pick that up on Wednesday and have a little bit more to say about that. So until Wednesday evening, have a good week, and we'll see you then.